Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you with a message that burns deep within the heart of every person who has ever dreamed of achieving more, of becoming more. We live in a world filled with distractions, temptations, and endless noise, but within each of us lies a power greater than all of it. That power is discipline. It is not glamorous. It is not loud, but it is strong, steady, and unstoppable. Discipline is the force that builds champions, shapes leaders, and turns ordinary lives into extraordinary legacies. There comes a time when a person must rise up and say enough is enough. I will not drift through my days. I will not let emotions decide my destiny. I will master my mind, take control of my thoughts, and steer my life with purpose. Because when you master your mind, you command your future. And when you take charge of your day, when you wake with intention and act with clarity, you step into the power that was placed in you from the beginning. So I ask you today, are you ready to take back your life? Are you ready to own your day? Then it starts now, with discipline, with purpose, with power. Discipline is the unseen force that separates those who merely dream from those who live the dream. It is the bridge between the goals we set in our hearts and the greatness we are destined to walk in. You may have talent, you may have passion, and you may have desire burning in your bones. But without discipline, all of it fades like smoke in the wind. Discipline is what turns potential into performance. It is the daily choice to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It is the voice within that says, get up, keep going, stay focused. Discipline is the quiet strength that keeps you moving when the excitement is gone and the applause has faded. Every great man or woman who ever accomplished anything worth remembering walked the road of discipline. They learned to rise early when others slept. They studied when others relaxed. They trained when others gave excuses. They said no to comfort so they could say yes to purpose. They didn't wait for motivation to come. They created it through action, and that action was born from discipline. Because the truth is, goals are easy to set. You can write them in a notebook. You can speak them into the air. But to bring them to life, to walk across the bridge that leads from where you are to where you are meant to be, that requires discipline. There are moments in life when the fire burns bright. You feel unstoppable. You are inspired. But that feeling doesn't last forever. Life has a way of testing your commitment, not just your enthusiasm. And when those days come, when it's hard, when it's lonely, when it feels like nothing is working, discipline is what carries you. Discipline says keep going. When emotion says quit, discipline says stay the course. When distractions scream your name, discipline whispers to your spirit that greatness is not given, it's earned, step by step, decision by decision, hour by hour. You see, discipline isn't about perfection. It's not about never making a mistake. It's about consistency. It's about showing up again and again, building brick by brick, until the wall of greatness stands tall. It's in the small things, the daily habits, the little choices no one sees. Because those small things add up. They become who you are. They become your identity. And when discipline becomes your identity, greatness becomes your destiny. Look at your own life. Look at the places where you've grown, where you've overcome, where you've improved. Was it luck? Was it talent alone? Or was it discipline? Was it the early mornings, the late nights, the long hours of practice, the painful decisions to do what was right instead of what was easy? That is where greatness is formed. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows of effort. Not on the stage, but in the silence of sacrifice. Discipline teaches you that your mind is stronger than your feelings. It teaches you that your actions can lead your emotions, not the other way around. It tells you that success is not some distant thing reserved for a few chosen people. No, success is for the one who is willing to work when no one is watching, for the one who sets their face like flint toward their goal and refuses to back down. That is the person who becomes great, not because they were lucky, but because they were disciplined. And when you start walking in discipline, everything changes. Your confidence grows. Your vision becomes clearer. You stop chasing comfort and start chasing calling. You stop wishing for success and start preparing for it. You stop talking about your goals and start becoming the kind of person who can handle those goals. That's what discipline does. It transforms you from the inside out. It builds character. It builds resilience. It builds a spirit that cannot be broken. There is a power in discipline that shakes the ground beneath excuses. It cuts through fear. It silences doubt. It gives you a sense of control in a chaotic world. You may not be able to control the circumstances around you, but you can control your response. You can control your effort. You can choose to keep going, to keep believing, to keep showing up. And every time you do, every time you honor discipline over distraction, you are laying another brick on the bridge to greatness. That bridge may be long. It may be hard. It may be filled with trials, setbacks, and disappointments. But if you stay on it, if you keep walking, you will reach the other side. You will look back and realize that discipline wasn't a punishment. It was a gift. It was the fire that refined you, the weight that made you stronger, the path that prepared you for the destiny you now live. And when you stand in that place of victory, when you taste the fruit of everything you labored for, you will understand that greatness was never about fame or applause. It was about becoming who you were always meant to be. You will see that every morning you rose in pain, every moment you chose purpose over pleasure, every sacrifice, every tear, every step of obedience was worth it, because you did not let your life be ruled by feelings. You chose discipline, you chose power, and that power became your bridge. That bridge led you across the gap between dreams and destiny, between good intentions and real transformation, between wishing for change and living a life that inspires change in others. And once you've walked that bridge, once you've tasted the power of a life governed by discipline, you never go back. You keep building, you keep pressing, you keep growing, not just for yourself, but for the people watching, the lives you're meant to touch, the legacy you're meant to leave. Because discipline doesn't just build your life, it builds the lives of everyone your life will impact along the way. There is a battlefield inside each of us, a quiet war that rages every single day. That battlefield is the mind. It is where thoughts are born, decisions are made, and destinies are shaped. The mind is not just a place of thinking. It is the control center of your entire life. What you think determines how you feel. How you feel shapes how you act, and how you act defines who you become. If you want to change your life, you must first master your mind. Because when you learn to control your thoughts, you begin to command your life. So many live like prisoners in their own heads. They are chained to doubt, fear, and shame. They hear voices telling them they are not enough, that they will never make it, that their past defines them. And because they believe those voices, they live beneath their potential. But hear this truth. You were never meant to be a prisoner. You were created to walk in freedom. And that freedom begins when you take authority over your mind. You cannot stop every thought from entering your head, but you can decide which ones you allow to stay. Just because a thought shows up does not mean it belongs to you. It does not mean it is true. And it certainly does not mean it should shape your future. You must become a gatekeeper of your own mind. Stand guard. Be vigilant. When fear knocks, answer with courage. When doubt creeps in, respond with truth. When negativity tries to settle, replace it with purpose. Because your thoughts are seeds. And if you water them long enough, they grow into beliefs, habits, and outcomes. There was a time when I let worry run my life. My mind would spin with everything that could go wrong. Every problem became bigger in my imagination than it ever was in reality. And as I fed those thoughts, they fed my fears. But something shifted when I realized I had a choice. I could take those thoughts captive. I could replace fear with faith, confusion with clarity, and despair with hope. It wasn't easy. It wasn't instant. But it was powerful. And little by little, the atmosphere of my mind began to change. And when my mind changed, everything changed. You see, the mind will either be a servant to your purpose, or a slave to your past. It will lift you up or tear you down. It will focus on the goal or wander through distractions. And every day you are training it. Whether you realize it or not, what you read, what you watch, what you say to yourself, all of it shapes your mental environment. If you feed your mind with junk, don't be surprised when your life starts to decay. But if you feed it with truth, with discipline, with vision and hope, you will begin to rise above the noise. Mastering your mind doesn't mean every day will be easy. It doesn't mean you won't face storms. But it does mean that the storm will not control you. It means that even when life throws chaos your way, you can remain anchored. Because your peace is not found in perfect circumstances. It is found in a trained and focused mind. And that kind of mind cannot be shaken by fear, by failure, or by the opinions of others. Too many people are waiting for life to change, so they can feel better. But the secret is this: change begins on the inside. Your thoughts shape your emotions. Your emotions shape your behavior. And your behavior creates the results you see. So if you want to change the results, start with the thoughts. Start by refusing to dwell on the lies that limit you. Start by planting new seeds. Seeds of belief, of truth, of courage. Speak life over yourself. Declare purpose. Remind yourself who you are and why you're here. There is a fire inside of you waiting to be awakened. And the match that lights that fire is found in your mind. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need everything figured out. You need a mind that is set on growth, set on purpose, set on doing the hard things that lead to freedom. Because the mind that is focused can do what others think is impossible. The mind that is strong can carry you through the darkest valley. And the mind that is mastered can lead a life that inspires others to rise. I've seen people with more pain than you can imagine walk in joy, not because life was easy, but because their mind was made up. I've seen ordinary men and women build extraordinary lives, not because they had all the answers, but because they refused to let fear dominate their thinking. They learned to take control, to train their minds like a warrior trains for battle. And as they mastered their thoughts, they stepped into a life of power. When you master your mind, you stop reacting and start responding. You stop surviving and start leading. You begin to live with intention, not impulse. You move with vision, not emotion. You are no longer a leaf blown by the wind. You become the wind. You carry the force of focus, the strength of clarity, the power of discipline. And that power changes not just your life, but every life you touch. The world will offer you chaos, confusion, distraction. It will offer you every reason to give up, to give in, to shrink back. But you are not here to conform to the world. You are here to transform it. And that transformation begins in your mind. It begins when you look in the mirror and say, I will not let fear decide my future. I will not let past failures define my worth. I will not let temporary emotions steal eternal purpose. I am the master of my thoughts. I am the captain of my focus. I will rise above the noise. I will walk with clarity. I will live with fire. I will lead with vision. And I will command my life by first mastering my mind. Because when you take control of your thoughts, you unlock a power that nothing in this world can take away. And that power leads you beyond survival into purpose, beyond struggle into strength, beyond potential, into the life you were always meant to live. And that life begins the moment you stop waiting for your mind to change on its own, and start deciding that today, right here, right now, you will no longer be a victim of thoughts. You will be their master. There comes a time when a person must rise, not just from the bed, but from the habits that have held them back. There comes a morning when you realize that life is not something that simply happens to you. It's something you were made to shape, to lead, to conquer. And that shaping begins with how you own your day. Because when you win the morning, you plant the flag for everything that follows. The moment your eyes open, your opportunity begins. Before the world makes its demands, before the noise gets loud, before the schedule tightens and distractions creep in, there is a sacred space in the morning, an opening to declare who you are and how you will live. That moment is not to be wasted. It is a moment to rise with purpose, not passiveness. A moment to lead yourself before anyone else does. You see, too many live their lives on defense. They wake up late, rush through routine, and stumble into the day already behind. They are reacting to life instead of leading it. But you were not created to chase the clock. You were not created to be overwhelmed by minutes. You were made to move with purpose, to rise like the sun, and bring light into every space you enter. But to do that, you must first command your morning. The most successful days don't begin by accident. They are built by discipline. They begin before the alarm clock. They begin the night before, with a mind that is set and a heart that is determined. Because the way you prepare is the way you perform. If you wake up with chaos, you carry chaos. But if you rise with clarity, you walk with strength. The first hour is the seed of the entire day. Plant it with faith, water it with discipline, guard it like treasure, because what you do in that first hour becomes the rhythm of everything that follows. I remember days when I used to wake up with dread. I would roll out of bed, feeling defeated before anything even began. My body was up, but my mind was still lying down. I would scroll through distractions, wasting the most powerful part of the day. But there came a moment when I realized the problem wasn't the day. It was my approach to it. I didn't need more time. I needed more intention. I needed to take back my morning. So I began to rise earlier. Not just to get ahead, but to get aligned. I started the day with silence, with gratitude, with reflection. I spoke purpose into the hours that lay ahead. And I found that when I won those first moments, the rest of the day could not own me. I owned it. The morning is a mirror. It reflects your discipline. It reveals your desires. It shows whether you're leading yourself or being led by emotions. There is no shortcut to excellence. There is no back door to greatness. If you want to build a life of meaning, it begins with owning your day. The warrior sharpens his sword before the battle. The leader anchors his heart before the crowd. You must do the same. Rise before the demands. Rise before the world pulls at your attention. Rise with the decision that today will not be wasted. Owning your day doesn't mean everything will go your way. It doesn't mean every moment will be perfect. It means that no matter what comes, you are rooted, you are grounded, you are focused. You've set the tone, you've drawn the line, and now you walk in that strength. When setbacks come, you won't crumble. When stress arrives, it won't take over. Because you've built a foundation in the morning that no storm can shake. This is not just about routines. It's about rulership. You rule the day by ruling yourself. You dominate the day not through control, but through clarity. You've named your priorities. You've chosen your mindset. You've committed your energy to what matters most. That is what owning your day looks like. It's not about being busy. It's about being intentional. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what's necessary. The world honors productivity, but purpose always outweighs performance. And when you lead with purpose, the rest follows. You cannot rise and expect greatness if you do not first commit to the small decisions. The morning is where small things become sacred. A moment of stillness, a stretch, a prayer, a plan, a deep breath that reminds you you are alive and called to something greater. Those little acts are not weak. They are mighty, because they direct your energy. They train your thoughts. They align your heart with your mission. And as you move through your day, those moments echo through every task, every conversation, every challenge. I've seen men and women who seemed ordinary become extraordinary, not because they had more talent, not because they had more opportunity, but because they made the morning their throne. They refused to be mastered by the world. They chose to master their response to it. That kind of power doesn't come from luck. It comes from discipline. It comes from a heart that says, no matter what happened yesterday, today I rise with intention. Today I step into purpose. Today I lead. This is not about perfection. It's not about checking boxes. It's about starting your day with alignment. When your heart, your mind, and your body move in unity, there is no mountain too tall. There is no burden too heavy. There is no doubt that can take you down. Because you are not drifting. You are driving. You're behind the wheel. Hands steady. Eyes fixed. And every mile of your day moves under the direction of your spirit. So many spend their days scattered, pulled in every direction. They lose themselves in tasks, in tension, in timelines. But you can choose something different. You can choose to lead your day before it leads you. You can rise with purpose before pressure arrives. You can speak life into your hours before complaints have a chance to steal them. You can step out of your house not empty, but full, not reactive, but proactive, not weak but strong. There is a fire inside you that the world has not seen. There is a mission inside you that your schedule must bow to. And that mission is born in the quiet strength of a morning well led. When you rise and win the morning, you become a person of consistency, of vision, of peace. You stop being a product of the day and start becoming a producer of it. You stop living life on repeat and start writing a new rhythm, a rhythm of victory, a rhythm of clarity, a rhythm of purpose that carries you from sunrise to sunset, with power in your steps and light in your eyes. And though the world may throw its worst, though challenges may rise and distractions may knock, they will find no room in you, because you have already claimed this day as your own. So as you step out today, do not stumble into the hours. Walk into them with purpose. Let every breath remind you that this is your moment, your mission, your day to lead. You were not made to drift. You were made to direct. And when you win your morning, you set the tone for greatness, for discipline, for impact. Rise with clarity, move with strength, and finish with peace, knowing you gave this day your best. Own it, command it, and let the world see what happens when a person stands in the power of discipline and purpose. Your day is now.